I actually had worked out an instrumental for that, and then I chickened out, you know. My fingers are so tense at the moment, I couldn't. I'm going to have a break from the boys now.
See you, Nick.
And I'm going to remove this. We actually did war with the English in 1703 when they came to Gibraltar in this costume. See? There's a bit of blood in it somewhere, English blood. And the way I'm going tonight will probably be some more fresh one.
I think you nicked it off George Harrison.
Well, he's got a lot to blame for a lot of my thinking, I'll tell you. Yeah. When we left Gibraltar, or rather when I left Gibraltar, the family I was living with had a daughter who married a gentleman in the Air Force, Royal Air Force, and his next posting was Edinburgh. He was from Edinburgh, coincidentally. So my foster mother, not being left alone in Gibraltar, decided to go with her daughter, and she said to me, I was 14 at the time, said, you wanted to go to Scotland? Scotland? And I thought, maybe down the road, you know. See, so I said, see. And a few weeks later, I was on a tender, and I went to see the ship. Now, as a kid, my foster father had taken me on a rowing boat to the liners that came to Gibraltar, and we used to sell stuff on a rope. So I was one of these little brown waifs that sold stuff. You want to buy? Yes. We used to send the money down and we used to bugger off. And the sea outside Gibraltar, it's like, you know, it's like the Rocky Mountains, only in motion. And I had to keep the boat going or sell stuff, whatever it was. Anyway, so I find myself in this massive P&O boat going along. And this is October, so there's not a lot of tourists on the boat, not a lot of passengers. So we've got the run of the boat to ourselves. Huge dining room. And they used to give us things like Schweppes, fresh oranges, which I'd never seen before. I'd just seen oranges in trees, not in bottles. So we had quite a good time. My mother was neither fluent in English. Well, in fact, she didn't have any English at all. And the Spanish that she had was Andalou. So when the waiter couldn't converse with her, they said, oh, we've got a chap who speaks Spanish. So he became our waiter. And of course he could understand us, because we were from Andalusia and he was from the north. So anyway, 4.5 days later, which is what it took, we ended up at Tilbury. And my first memory of Tilbury was black buildings, no sky or light up there anymore, and the smell of coal. And that is the richest source of memory that I have. If I go to smell a coal fire, I'm transported to this magical journey that we come. And then we got a train from Tilbury to St Pancras, a taxi to King's Cross, and a train to Edinburgh. You know, the old train in the old days, you know, when they used to go over the rails. And that is another sort of rhythmic thing, you know, when you went through trying to think what the sound was, what it was telling you, know, and then it would change slightly, and then you would go through a junction, and then it would be, you know, chaos. It'd be like my head, you know, sort of, you know. So anyway, I arrived in Edinburgh at about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up, and I looked out the window, and it was still dark, you know. I thought, oh God, you know, I'd be out playing in Gibraltar at this time in the morning, you know, sort of squelching heat. And this was, everything was wet, you know, the walls were wet, the lampposts were wet, the street was wet, everything was wet. And it hadn't rained yet, you know, I had to wait. But the smell of coal permeated. And the first thing I did was put the radio on, and there was Buddy Holly, my idol from Gibraltar. And this is one of the songs that I remember. So I'm going to start with the... And I'm going to dedicate this to my wife, who's been suffering me for the last 8 years, 10 years. And anyway, the last 8 weeks has been hell for her with practicing this. Just you know why you and I will by and by no true love way. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, but we know why, just you and I, no true love way. Throughout the day, our true love way will bring us joys to share with those who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why, just you and I, no true love way. Throughout the day, our true love way will bring us joys to share with those who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why, just you and I, no true love way. Thank you. In Scotland, I was introduced to folk music via the folk clubs, and the folk clubs at that time were beginning to support political parties like the SNP and stuff like that. And through the first sort of initial period when I didn't play the guitar, I didn't start to play the guitar till I was about 21. I met a lot of people who I later met when they were more famous. I met Dick Gaughan, for instance, when he was still at Trinity College, and he would just get up and do songs. I met Barbara Dixon, Archduke Fisher, Matt McGinn, and all these people. And they were just sort of beginning to, Hamish Imlach, to start sort of a political folk circle. But to be a folk singer, you had to get a green Irish book called the Clancy Brothers Songbook. And this is how I started. That's all. I'm gonna pick. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna pick it. Fare thee well to you, my own true love. I am bound for far away. I am bound for California, yeah. But I know that I'll return someday. So fare thee well, my own true love, and when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think of thee. I have sailed upon a Yankee sailing ship, Davy Crockett is her name, and young Burgess is the captain of her, and they say that she's afloat in hell. So fare thee well, my own true love, and when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Hey, hey. Keep going. Oh, the sun is on the harbor, love, and I wish I could remain, for I know it will be a long, long time before I see you again. So fare thee well, my own true love, and when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, But my darling, when I think of thee. Thank you. Jim Smith in the audience somewhere now? With a boring? I'm going to ask an Englishman to play on a Scottish song to show you that they have no scruples. Do you trip? This is called Scots Way, and it was almost Chinese for me for a few years till I gathered the language. I'll have to tell you that I ended up in Edinburgh in New Haven, which had their own language, and then when I started work at the age of 16, I worked in Leith, which had another language, and so I learned that language. Also, the one that I'd learned for 6 months in school, because I did 6 months school in Edinburgh, was also a different sort of form of English. Hence the reason why I don't speak very good English. But the strangest thing was, it took me 6 years to save up some money to visit Gibraltar. And when I arrived there, they couldn't understand me. I just... You know the feeling, do you? I don't. I forget now. Scots we wallers play. Scots one blues as often lay. Welcome to your glory bay, on to victory. Now's the day and now's the hour. See the front of battle hour. See approach proud Edward's power. Chains and slavery. Woe be a take our name. Walk and fill a coward's grave. Was a base as be a slave. Let him turn and flee. War for Scotland, king and lord. Freedom's sword will strongly draw. Free man stand, or free man fall. Let us do or die. By oppression, woes and pain, by your sons in servile chain, we will drain our dearest vein, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurpers low, tyrants fall in every foe, liberty in every blow. Let us do our deed. Scots way, we wallers play. Welcome to your glory bed, oh, to victory. Thank you very much. Jim Smith there playing with his skin. I think we'll have the guy in the fiddle. Nick, would you like to get up, please? Could you bring my my drink up, please? God, it's very hot in here tonight, isn't it? Good health to you. In Gibraltar, sailors feature predominant. You know, like I said, when I was a kid, you could look down Main Street and it'd be blue with white hats, the whole street. Gibraltarians had to step off the pavement when the matlows went by, because they were usually guttered anyway, and they ruled. So we had a sort of like a strange love-hate feeling with him. My dad spent all his life in the dockyard. My grandfather was the same. In fact, one of my grandfathers was a coal heaver for the warships. And they used to get something like a halfpenny a bag, and had to sort of collect the coal and go up the gangplank and shove it down the hole.
Just like that.
Just like that, yeah. It's like me getting up in the morning. Yeah. So this song dates back to the early period in Scotland from the folk clubs, and more recently I heard that it was written by Cyril Tawney, and he died recently. And reading something about him, he spent the wartime in Gibraltar in the Navy, and if you got that job during the war, it was, you know, like the D-Day Dodgers and all that. And the war never came to Gibraltar, except they came and went. So he had quite happy memories of it, except for this one girl, Sally, who was a lady off the street, and he fell in love with her, but it came to no avail. And he wrote this song called Sally Free and Easy. I don't think the free actually is true about it, you know. When I tried it, it charged a lot. You know? Sally free and easy, that should be her name. Sally free and easy, that should be her name. Took a sailor's loving for a nursery game. Oh, the heart that she did give me was not made like a honeycomb. Think I'll wait till the sun sets. See the ensign down. Think I'll wait till the sun sets. See the ensign down. When my body's landed to that burying ground, Sally free and easy. That should be her name. Sally free and easy. That should be her name. When my body's landed hope she dies of shame. Sally free and easy. Sally free and easy. Thank you. If anybody wants to ask a question, or I don't lend any money. No, I'll. Oh,
I have a question, Nick.
Mr. Davis.
I'm not an audience plant either. John Davis, aspiring reporter for the Tamworth Folk Club.
Oh my God.
Can I just say it's what a great pleasure it is to see you once again at Bowl Hall. It's fantastic. As an aspiring musician myself, I know that you've had many influences over the years that will have shaped your musical style. There's Bob Dylan, who we know quite well,
Bob Bull.
Bobby Holly, Roy Orbison, and Bob Bull.
Bob Bull, see?
You're right. And also, like myself, you're an ex-member of the Old Castle Band.
Yes. I wonder why the X bit.
Well, you are an ex-member.
Yeah.
And you've walked that hallowed stage at Bowl Hall in the
Yeah.
shadow of the great maestro himself, Bob Hall.
I have, haven't I?
Now, as someone who's recently gone through the same situation of leaving the Old Castle Band, can you share with me how you've managed to replace the experience of playing with the Old Castle Band? How did you find the inspiration to perform again after having experienced such a very band performance? What lies ahead for you and me?
Well, the therapist. Yeah. I went to therapy, I'll tell you. I have to, and they said that it's probably not as severe as I thought it was. As long as I keep coming up and doing maybe a song or two, you know, like with the Old Castle Band, and sort of break away gently, sort of there. But I have had several nightmares where I was called for, and Robert Bull has a certain majory sort of manner, you know. You're on now, see? Yes? You're on there, right? You're on, come on, get on there. And I have actually rehearse this so that when he tells me that, I have to go up to them. This is what the therapist said to me. Excuse me, Bob. You know, can you ask me nicely? And he says, no, I can't. So what I'm going to do is, in fact, I might threaten to get him up to do a song with me later on. It's part of the therapy, so it's.
That would be a great privilege anyway.
Yeah.
Who for?
He hasn't paid back. Yeah. He hasn't paid back the 20 quid he borrowed at camp. So I have to keep in with him.
Well, you have 20 quid at camp.